Well, my PhD Shanfeng is supposed to present the slides, but he's too busy getting married at the moment, so he ditched me. So I need to deal with the slides myself now. So can I start now?
Yep.
Yes. So thank you very much. My name is Hubert. I'm an associate professor in Northumbria University. So today I'm going to talk about some shape and pose patterns for humans. So basically, there are quite lots of humans used in graphics. Say for example, animations and games. So if you watch this kind of movie, you probably notice that they're not real human. They're computer graphics generated most of the time. So and then generating this human becomes very important in these areas. However, scanning the surface of the human, capturing the motion sometimes could be quite complicated. So we wish to have some method to automatically synthesize high quality human shapes and pose. And this is what we wish to do. In the past, there are two groups of methods to deal with shape and human movement patterns. The first group is what we call the linear subspace methods. They basically assume that the pose or the shape denies on a linear subspace, and then they can use some kind of linear method such as principal component analysis to model the subspace to reduce the dimensionality. But the problem is that they might generate some sort of unrealistic human, especially in a low probability area. So if you random sample the space, you will be able to get some kind of strange human. And then you need to manually filter this kind of low quality data, which is not very good. That's why recently we start to have deep learning methods. With deep learning methods, we'll be able to more accurately model the subspace because we're trying to learn a nonlinear manifold of human. And we use several major techniques, say for example, variational autoencoder, VAE, generative adversarial network GAN. And the idea is that we directly sample from the distribution so that we can consistently generate high quality samples. So we don't have a problem of sometimes getting low quality samples anymore. And our main idea is following the deep learning method. And basically, we try to use an autoencoder to encode a human into a low-dimensional space. And then we try to learn the manifold of human shape and pose using GAN in this low-dimensional space. This kind of mechanism, this kind of framework is known as adversarial autoencoder. And it's traditionally used in computer vision for image and video analysis. And in this research, we borrow the idea and try to see how well it will work for human shape and human poses. So the idea of adversarial autoencoder, if we wish to put in a single statement, is that instead of doing the deep learning directly on the geometry space, which is the input and output space, we do it in a low-dimensional hidden space in the middle of the autoencoder. I'll show you a bit more information about that. So in our system, we first have an autoencoder. For the shape, we have this shape as an input, and then we have a shape encoder. Shape encoder essentially is a deep neural network, and it encodes the shape into a smaller, shorter vector. So we call the input to be in the geometry space. And then in the middle, we have a lower dimensional autoencoder space. And finally, we have a shape decoder, which tries to decode the autoencoder space into the full geometric space again. So if the autoencoder is working very well, the input and the output should be quite similar, while you can represent every single piece of information in the middle using the low-dimensional vector. And we have a GAN, as I've mentioned, we have a GAN, generative adversarial network. Our GAN sample from a standard normal distribution, and then for every single GAN there are two parts. The first part is a generator. So we have the shape generator, which takes the input from a normal distribution, and then it will generate the shape in the embedding space directly. So the idea is that this generator will try to generate something the same as the autoencoder. However, it doesn't need to take the full dimensional shape as an input. It just takes a random noise vector, which is from a standard normal distribution as the input, and then we can generate exactly the same thing. And for the GAN, the second component will be the discriminator. So the discriminator will try to tell whether a particular shape in the embedding is from the generator, which is fake, or is it from the encoder, which is real. So as you can see, if the discriminator and the generator, if they're competing with each other, they will improve. And at the end of the day, if the generator can generate something that the discriminator can no longer tell whether it's from the encoder or from the generator, then the generator is generating something quite realistic. And that's what we want. So when the system is trained, we no longer need to have the encoder part. We can directly sample some kind of random distribution, normal distribution from here as a random vector, pass it to the generator, and generate the embedding. And then we can use the decoder to decode this. So with this pathway, we'll be able to generate however many shapes we want. So, if I go a bit more details, the input space is very small, 6,000 times 3D dimension, so it's quite a long vector for input space because we need to represent all the surface points on the human body for the shapes. But then we can encode it into a very small embedded space, which is 3 times 32, and then here we decode it back to the original space. So in here, because in the deep neural network, we use something called parametric value. So basically, the parametric value we use in the autoencoder is something like this. In original value, you have a flat negative area, but in the parametric value, you have a slight slope in the negative area. You make the system to converge better and easier to train. And then on the right-hand side, we have the generator and the discriminator. The generator takes 1,000 sample, which is just 32 units long in dimension, and then it takes a parametric value, and then it generates the same embedding as we have in the encoder. And then finally, we have the discriminator, which takes in a shape embedding and then try to tell whether it is real or not. And in the discriminator, we use something called spectral normalization. And it's a common trick anyway, so basically it guarantees that the discriminator is a smooth function, such that it's not too overtrained, so it's much easier to train the discriminator. And that's it. So we have the shape part in the left-hand side, and now we wish to deal with the pose part. So the shape part is like the human body shape surface. And the pose part is just like the skeletal movement. So for the pose part, we have the pose encoder and the decoder, just like the shape, but we have the pose embedding now. And we do similar things as the shape, so we use a normal distribution to sample a vector to generate a pose, to do a pose generator. And then we use a pose discriminator to tell whether it's real or fake. So we have a pose gun as well. In terms of the network architecture, it's also something very similar. We use parametric value. It's just that for this kind of movement, we use joint angle to represent the movement. So you have a shorter vector, so it's 3 times 20 dimension. And so it's shorter than the shape, but we encode it into something like 32 dimensions. And we have a similar setup for the GAN part using parametric value and spectral normalization. So this is our data, so this is our framework, and we use some existing data to train our system. For the human shape, we use MPII human shape database. They have lots of shapes. For the human movement, for the human pose, we use the SFA motion catch dataset, and we represent human movement using 3D joint angle. We ignore the root angle, the pelvis angle, such that we don't have movement really. So these are the training laws. So basically, on the left-hand side, we have the reconstruction error for the autoencoder, for the shape, and for the pose. So you can see that from this kind of reconstruction error, you can see that the loss is very consistent. So the loss reduces very quickly and then becomes very consistent. And it also shows that it's very easy to compress the shape and pose into a very low dimensional space without much loss. So Onco and Toga part is very easy. On the right hand side, we have the Gann loss. And so basically, this is a well-behaved Gann loss for the shape and for the pose. When I say well-behaved, because the generator loss, which is the blue line, and the discriminator loss, the orange line, they keep on competing with each other. So which means that there is no spiky loss, no one side winning. If the generator and the discriminator they keep on competing with each other, you tend to have a better system. So in terms of the results, the upper part is the baseline in which we run the gun in the geometric space. The lower one is our gun, so we run the gun in the low dimensional embedding space. You probably can tell in the upper part there are quite a lot of unnatural natural shapes. But in the lower part, out of all of them, we only found one being unnatural. So our result is a lot more consistent. And here also in the human pose sample, on the upper part, if you want the gun in the geometric space, in the high dimensional geometric space, you tend to generate a lot of very strange posture in fact the skeleton, not like the bones are totally broken. But in the lower part, if you want the gun in the low dimensional embedded space, you tend to generate good samples. So out of all of them, we only found two to be slightly unnatural. So the system performed much more consistently. So some conclusion and future work. In this paper, we propose to learn the metaphor of human shape and human pose using GAN in the low dimensional auto and total space instead of the high dimensional geometric space, and we find that the result is a lot more consistent for both pose and shapes. We open our source code and dataset, so if you wish to take a look at it, if you wish to try out, just go to our project website, just Google the link, and you'll be able to see that, and you can download the source code and play with it. As a future work, we wish to model the distribution of shape and pose together. So right now, we have pose, we have shape, but they're sort of separate. And we have problem to model them together because the pose come with different, the shape of the human body, when you generate them, it comes with different bone length, but the pose, they always have the same bone length. So we need to do some normalization, or we need to do some tricks such that we jointly model the distribution of pose and shape at the same time, such that they can be compatible with each other. If they are, then we can easily deform the generated human shape using the human pose. So you can generate shape, pose shape at the same time. And also we wish to have some kind of more quantitative metrics to evaluate the realism of the generated human sample. So right now we just use our eyes to evaluate it, which is not very professional. So thank you very much. Any questions?
Now we have time, 2 minutes for questions.
That quiet.
So, Hubert, thanks for the very interesting talk.
Yeah.
So, can you hear me? Okay, cool. So my question is, do you have any control on the shape that you get out? I mean, you want a tall, chubby personality or like a...
That's what you mean. Yeah, we don't enforce control over the shape and pose at the moment, but it's possible to do so. But we need to have a more complicated training mechanism that takes in a further variable as an input vector. Yeah. But we haven't done this yet.
Okay.
We have time for one more question.
So you talked about in the future work dealing with poses, matching poses to shapes better by adjusting the bone lengths. And as you look at doing that, have you thought about learning your pose space in sort of a different motion space, like an effector space or time space, rather than in a joint angle space? which would be a little bit more independent in terms of getting correct poses.
So yeah, this is a good point. So right now we use the joint angle to represent the pose, which is easy, and we by default has a consistent bone length. But it's not easy to represent the bone length if you wish them to be varying. So if I need to do something like what I mentioned, I probably will consider the positions, joint position to represent the human pose. Because with the joint position, you implicitly can represent bone length. In fact, I think Taco is not here right now, but Taco has done quite a lot of good work, and they all use position to represent their pose.